number 2. In row number 3, Claus Graf. He is all the way from Germany, a normal runner in the ALMS series.
And Dan Shaver, I hate it for him. It's a good race car. He's a great guy. He gave us this opportunity to come here and he got a wrecked race car out of it.
Luckily, though, Bodine walking away from this unharmed. Back to you guys.
Saw a lot of great racing there. Casey Atwood clawing his way back to the top. He's back to the 6th spot. But let's talk about that dude in the 69 car. Man, Graf is doing a great job. Started 5th, fell back a little bit, but he's really working his way, and he's pretty steady.
He really is. I talked to Graf earlier today. He's got Ken Schrader's Winston Cup car, good motor in that race car. He's looking for really good things. I said, Graf, have you ever driven a stock car? He says, no. This is the first time. I said, you're kidding. He says, no. Last weekend, Ken Schrader took him to Kentucky. They spent a day there and tested. And Ken said he basically started with the basics and worked his way through, and he said he'd done a great job here today.
And right there, a little confusion trying to pass some lap traffic already here. Graf trying to go around that car, and you got Casey Atwood just stalking him now. When you got a guy stalking you like that, you've never run a stock car race before. What are you feeling?
Well, I tell you, Ken Schrader, not Ken Schrader, but his spotter's up on the roof right now talking to him, saying, hey, let's take your time. We got a lot of laps. Be careful. You need to learn how to race through this race traffic and make it to the end.
You think this is good? We got a lot more Arca Remax Series competition when we
voltage, we have no power.
But how about this? Klaus Graf made it out first out of that round of pit stops with that BAM Nextel Cup team. They made it out first, out ahead of everybody.
Well, as Kyle can tell you, it's so important to have a good pit crew, an experienced pit crew to get you in and out of the pits, because that could make you or break you.
Yeah, it really can. And, you know, to have that BAM racing team underneath them, you know, it's definitely a benefit. No doubt it's definitely a benefit. So looks like, you know, he might be a strong competitor here towards the end of the race. Got out in front of Frank.
Dan, want to talk about Blake Feast's pit stop. We saw them make a chassis adjustment there. Tell me about that.
Well, he was complaining probably the car was a little tight, because it looks like to me they took 2 rounds.
Look at those sparks come out from the back of Jeremy Clement's car.
They drive down in there. The setup here for Nashville Speedway is a soft spring, big bar setup. They're running 500-600 pound springs in these race cars, big 2-inch bar. You drive down in the corner, as you can see, the tire is right on the fender of the race car, and it just lays down in the racetrack.
I'll tell you, Graf's got some guts. He's on the outside, the tough way around this racetrack, trying to get by Kimmel, but I think that's only because Clement is slowing them up. Here comes Blake.
It could happen. We got 10 laps to go. I doubt he'll catch him on the racetrack at this rate.
And look at that gap between first and second spot. There's the German Graf. Don?
Well, Claus Graf is no doubt getting some great advice from Ken Schrader, but guess what, guys? He's also getting some great advice from Scott Eggleston, who's the crew chief on the 69 car. Of course, Scott Eggleston is Ken Schrader's Nextel Cup Series crew chief, so there's a lot of good sharing of information there as well. I talked to Klaus earlier. He said he couldn't believe how much the Americans shared information with him.
Oh, trouble.
And Scott Eggleston.
Oh, no, it's Ryan Hemphill.
Trouble on the racetrack.
Wow, the leader gets involved with the 18 of Kamalander. The 3rd incident of the night for the number time auto racing. Here is the top 10. Blake Feast becomes the 227th winning driver in Arca Remax Series history. Claus Graf in the 3rd spot. How about that?
Great run for him tonight. We were talking.
Was coming to the green. But while we were gone, Claus Graf from Dornum, Germany, who once led the 24 Hours of Le Mans and was on track for a Formula One career, gets off track here in this BAM Racing Dodge SEM. Beautiful, colorful paint scheme, but that won't help you get around here.
Boy, it's a shame, because he was really not that bad in practice. Had one of the quicker times.
Had a good test. Finished 3rd in the Arca race at Nashville. But that is I believe that's a go or go home car, Larry.
Yeah, it's a team car to Kenny Schrader's, and Mike, we actually have 44 cars here for 43 positions, and he's one of 5 cars that has to qualify on time, but team.
4 in the top 10.
So Claus Graf, the German, is the final driver in the field on time. Casey Kane was battling with Claus Graf, the veteran of the American Le Mans Series, who has led the 24 Hours of Le Mans in Germany. He's just ahead of Kane in that 2nd BAM racing car.
And he's been fast all weekend. He just kind of had a miscue on qualifying the other day, just barely made this show, but he's up there right now racing in the top 20.
Never thought it was possible. Boris said a good top 10 finish, but give a call to Claus Graf from Germany. 17th finish. Jim Engelbright substituting in the 30 car. He comes home with a top 20. Good runs for those guys. They kept it on the asphalt all day.
Fun to watch come from 43rd starting spot. And these were the drivers, including 3 of the road course ringers, Klaus Graf, Scott Pruitt, and Boris Said, who probably would have qualified on time, but got weathered out on Friday. Hermie Sadler, Jimmy Spencer, engine changes on their car. Hey.
This is Klaus Graf, the German sports car driver in the DHL Dodge, a teammate to Ken Schrader. And it looks like he may be headed home overnight. 20.21. That is 5/10 off of Ward Burton, and it's 4 or more tenths off everybody else. Second lap was a little slower as he picked up a lot of paint off the concrete wall coming off turn 4.
Yeah, 2021. I'm going to be about willing to bet and say you're going to have to run in the 19s to make the fastest 38.
We've already given you the names that went home. There's another look at them. So the Rocket dominates Martinsville. He's the new track record holder. Congratulations to Ryan Newman on his 7th Bud pole of the season. Enjoy the Subway 500 on Sunday.
And at 17.54.
That fans don't like him much out here, as you can tell.
He is popular everywhere. Okay, Claus Graf has to get in on his time. 38th here a few years ago on the starting grid. Finished 17th that year. That's his only NASCAR start. His team has only made 4 races so far this season.
Now, he actually drove for this team here a few years ago and made the race here at Infineon. P.J. Jones will be watching this lap very closely because right now P.J. and that 00 on that bubble.
Don't think P.J. is going to have anything to worry about so far. I mean, this car does not look like it's handling very well.
And was the slowest in practice earlier today. 50th. Keep an eye on this car and check in with Matt.
And Bill, the last guy to qualify today will be Juan Pablo Montoya. Now, you were here when you were 15 years old doing the Skip Barber Series, and you've got a little map of the race course on your steering wheel. So how has your day gone here at Infineon?
It's been pretty tough, actually. We came in and the car was a little bit off, so we had to do a lot of work. And at the end, we got a little better. I think for race stream and that would be pretty good. I don't know. We just have no idea what we're going to run, you know. We've done a couple of changes to try to improve what we run from practice, but we'll see, you know. We just got to be up there so we give ourselves a chance for the race.
Thank you, Juan. And it just keeps getting uglier.
It's not getting any better, that's for sure. So I think this car will be making the trip back across the country here later on this evening. They will not make this show.
Man, that's a long haul.
That is a long haul. Might want to leave that off somewhere along the interstate, that car. That thing, that just looked like he had a handful. He was driving it. I mean, you could see he was driving the heck out of it, but he was...
To no avail.
To no avail. He was struggling.
They're done. Ralph.
Well, we're down second. Bill?
Thanks, Matt. Here are the drivers going home after the long trip to Sonoma.
A lot of our regular boys there, and look at Scott Riggs. That's the second DNQ that he's had here in 2007.
So Jamie McMurray, Robbie Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Boris Said, Tony Stewart, the top 5. And again, the big story from Sonoma today, Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson not allowed to practice.
Good sign at a racetrack, and here at Watkins Glen, the rains have moved back in, which has caused a cancellation of NASCAR Nextel Cup qualifying. They've had to start the field, line the field up by owner's points and past champions provisionals. And of course, the cars that did not qualify, Marcus Ambrose, one of our guests here, Ward Burton, Brian Semo, the former Trans Am champion, Klaus Graf, the German road racer, Boris Said, who has been so good in stock cars, and of course, Marcus Ambrose, we mentioned, and A.J. Allmendinger. And let's visit once again, I think where Boris has got to be a little bit disappointed. He's standing by with Dave.